Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome once again to the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show. Today we are talking about All Out and the violence that was there. We're talking about WWE, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest getting beaten down by the Judgment Day once again, including a great fan interaction that WWE Twitter sent out there. It's been a fun week of wrestling, building towards Bad Blood on one end, AEW Grand Slam on the other end. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Robert Lentini. He's been covering this industry for over a decade now, a writer for Sportskeeda. Bob, we finally don't have a pay-per-view to preview. Instead, we just get to talk about the week that was. What a wonderful time.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Just we have like a few weeks here, a nice little reprieve from pay-per-views, and then we're right back at it again with Bad Blood and whatever the hell's coming up next month. But yeah, it's
Wrestle
nice
Dream.
To just Wrestle Dream. That's right. In Seattle, Bryan Danielson's hometown. I'm sure that AEW will have some great plan for that. But yeah, I'm excited to not talk about a pay-per-view this week.
Yeah, well, we will talk about a pay-per-view right off the top here. Let's jump into the main card of the week because our curtain jerker, the conversation we want to talk about, is AEW All Out. We're not going to recap the pay-per-view that was. We will talk about some of the matches here, but if you want to know the match card, the match results, we're 4 or 5 days after that pay-per-view happened. We're not going to recap the show, but instead we want to talk about a bigger picture conversation here because, Bob, after that show, you texted me something, and I guess if you want me to paraphrase what you said, I will, or you can put it into your own words, but it basically centered around you watched the ECW days and the world of just blood all over the place wrestling, where the violence is too real and the wrestling is supposed to be fake. Like, we know it's real for these wrestlers, but when we get stuff in there like power bombs onto cinder blocks, hypodermic needles into mouths, guys getting a bag thrown over their head and choked out, sometimes it's still real to me. Damn, it kind of bleeds through the line a little bit, and you're not the biggest fan of that. Do you want to explain what your message was and how All Out made you feel?
Well, my biggest takeaway from All Out was I thought it was actually a good show overall, just getting that out of the way. But my biggest takeaway was, where the hell do you go from here? And I don't mean from storyline. It's just we're desensitizing the entire audience to everything. So like when someone just falls on tacks, that's like a body slam in AEW now if they keep going down this road. Like, that's what I'm worried about. That was my main concern. But that whole show, the Willow Nightingale versus Statlander, that whole show was like an insane deathmatch type atmosphere. It was great, but if that's like, they can't do that all year. That's what was my main thing. Like, please just don't do these unsanctioned matches more than once a year. Have that be one time crazy thing. But I was left with like, my God, like, they're just way too ridiculous, way too many risks, way too many huge spots that you move on from in 10 seconds. We don't get to like enjoy and go, holy shit, and look at the destruction. They're already on to another spot. That's what like annoys me about AEW. It's like, slow the hell down. Stop doing all these risks. I sound like an old, like 80-year-old grandfather.
You got a little Jim Cornette vibe going with you right now. But I do have to say, the Willow Nightingale Chris Statlander match to me is separate from the other two because I thought that match was the best match of the night, and I was looking forward to it, and I thought it paid off everything. I thought it was fantastic, and it was like the Chicago street fight, whatever the stipulation was, so you knew crazy stuff was going to happen, especially the way they came out in their street fight gear. I thought they both looked great. They looked the part, and I thought it was a really fun match. And I thought the big spots that they did have an impact. The fluorescent lights over the head. You see Statlander's now dazed and bleeding. They're going through the table, the spear through the table. And then when we get back into the ring, the tack spot where Chris Statlander, the poor girl, does a split on the tacks. We got a couple of body bumps onto the tacks. I understand moving too fast. And I understand how, getting hit in the mush with a chain and then getting back up and hitting her with a chain. Like, I get that sometimes we're not selling as much as we should be, but I thought that match did a really nice job of taking everything they had to take and moving the story forward. The next two matches, or the next two moments, I should say, were a little bit interesting to me. Daniel Bryan getting choked out with a plastic bag over his head. I never want to see that again. I understand we're trying to make Moxley as dangerous as possible, but as you said, what's next after that? Like, what's Moxley actually going to do to Darby Allin when he faces him at Grand Slam? Is he going to kill the man? Because he almost killed Daniel Bryan on television. And I thought it was jarring, and that's a good thing for a heel, but at the same time, I don't need to see that again. What else I don't need to see is that cinder block in the unsanctioned street fight with Swerve and Hangman. There were a lot of crazy spots. I love the staple gun. I think the staple gun stuff is awesome. And again, dangerous, bloody, probably need a couple of shots, tetanus shots afterwards, but I think they're awesome moments with the staple gun. The hypodermic needle spot didn't affect me as much as it affected others, because you could tell Swerve was really in control of what was going on there. Even though I never need to see it again, it wasn't exactly the one that got me, because I trust these two guys know what they're doing. The cinder block stuff to both Hangman and Swerve, that made me never want to see wrestling again, because that's not fake. It's real glass, bro. Like, that's something that you cannot be safe around, and you can seriously hurt yourself, and it is not needed. Like, he's used the cinder block before, Swerve has, and I understand it's part of his character. Get a fake one. Get one that crumbles into dust when you hit it. That's okay. We're watching wrestling. We can watch a fake cinder block and believe that it was real. Oh my God, he's so strong. He crushed it with the weight of another man's body. It doesn't need to be a real cinder block. That was the only one that stuck out to me, Bob. Was there any specific spot that stuck out to you that made you say, I don't want to ever see this again?
Well, you already said it. It was the bag spot with Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. I really hated that spot. It was like, let me be clear. I did like the show. I'm all for like extreme wrestling here and there. It was just like a culminate, like the entire show. I was like, holy shit. There's no filter here, which is great, I guess. But there's a limitation to like the masses. The mass audiences don't want to see a needle shoved through somebody's face. That's just my opinion. But the Danielson thing was like, you can do a heel turn any way you want, man, but we don't have to have a man suffocating like a fish out of water in the middle of the. It was unbelievable. This is Bryan Danielson's last run of his career, and he's wobbling around in the ring with a plastic bag over his head. After he won a great match with Jack Perry, I thought he brought Jack Perry to one of the best matches of his career, if not the best. Like, I really enjoyed it. It was like a 4 Meltzers. If we were doing a review, I would give it a 4.5 Meltzers. But just the bag spot. It just, I'm not watching Romper Stomper. I'm not going back and watching a 30-year-old.
This is not American History
movie.
X.
Yeah. I don't need to, but if that's in the movie, like, let's cut it out. You can be a crazy heel. You don't need to have, like, I don't want to see attempted murders. It turned me off.
Yeah. I will say, the way they performed that turn, I thought was expert level. We all kind of knew the Jon Moxley thing was this new character was going to be something a little bit deranged and dirty. And when that happened, you see the replay of Pac hugging Wheeler Yuta, and then goes from hugging to restraining him because he's in on it and Yuta is not. Cesaro pulls off a great uppercut from raising the guy's arm into an uppercut, and Daniel Bryan gives him the greatest shock face whatsoever, and then the bag over the head, which we could have just choked him out. Like, Moxley's a wrestling specialist, a submission specialist. We could have just choked him out. We didn't need to put a bag over his head.
He has a thing called a bulldog choke that he uses regularly. I wouldn't mind seeing that there instead of a plastic bag. Just that visual of him like gasping for air. It's like, all right, man. Like,
a
little much, but I understand like the sentiment. Like, they want to be different. They can do whatever. I respect it. I respected ECW. I just never like that. I never was a weekly watcher of ECW. I just watched it from afar and said, wow, that's crazy. It never got my attention.
Do you think this is just a one-off thing? Not a one-off thing, but a once-in-a-while thing with AEW? Do you think they're going to start leaning into more extreme wrestling? Because ECW really stuck out from WWE in that way. That's how they made their mark. That's how they found their own group, and that's how they succeeded for as profitable as they were for the short time they were profitable. Do you think AEW sees that as their avenue here? Because they no longer have the Vince McMahon avenue. They are fighting against Triple H, who is much better at booking. We have our qualms of Triple H, don't get me wrong, but he's much better than Vince at this whole thing at this point in both of their careers. So AEW now isn't the sexier brand anymore. Do you think they're trying to find a new niche to try and find eyeballs?
Maybe. I don't think it will work. I don't think that's the way to go, but that's just an opinion. It could be. I could be wrong. There could be millions of people ready to just really just want to see people suffocated with bags. There could be millions of people out there. I don't think there's but I think they should focus on their athleticism more than the extreme. Like, they have some of the best wrestlers in the world, and you go to extreme, we're already way too injured. If you look at their roster, I don't want to invite more of it. I would just.
And everybody has tape. That's the other thing I noticed in an AEW match. Everybody has tape somewhere on their body.
That's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. They're all like the Walking Dead in there. It's just they wrestle once a week. They don't. It's unbelievable.
Speaking of a change in perspective, that's it on
Yeah,
AEW All Out. We're now moving on to the mid-card topics of the day. And the first mid-card topic I want to talk about is a big change coming for Monday Night Raw on the WWE brand. Yes, we are switching networks. We're going to Netflix, but they announced that for the first time in I can remember, Raw is now shortened to 2 hours and it
that's
will be
huge.
commercial free. I'm sure there will be plenty
It's
of
awesome.
Prime ads thrown in there, but they're not technically
Yeah,
going to be called commercials. But 2 hours commercial free Raw on Netflix. Bob, this is something that the wrestling community has been clamoring for what seems to be decades. Raw, a 3-hour wrestling show every week is too long. And when you have the commercials, especially, people come out for their entrance, start a match, go on a commercial break, you come back for the finish, it's just a waste of everyone's time. That's going to seemingly go away for Netflix here. Are you
yeah.
excited as a wrestling fan that this change is coming, or do you think it's still going to be kind of the same thing, just in a different package?
No, I think I'm really excited for the future of WWE with Triple H and Nick Khan and what this is the 2 hours. They can curse now on Netflix if they want to use that. They don't have to, but just 2 hours. Like the Vince McMahon 3-hour Raw experience for like the past decade was hell. Like that was the worst television show on just TV in general, not just wrestling. It was just the worst show of all. The 3-hour Raw with Vince McMahon. It hasn't been too bad with Triple H. You even cut out a little more of that fat and put some more people on WWE Speed or whatever the hell internet show they have, and just cut out. Just focus on 2 hours. Give me 2 hours of just star after star, a great match after great match. It could be epic. It could be like could create a ton of more fans. People don't have the attention span that they used to. They don't want to sit down for 3 hours. You throw on Netflix, like you said earlier, before we even started the show. It's like watching a movie now.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have time to watch a movie once a week? So
Yeah.
I think it's a huge change. I think it's going to grow WWE a lot on Netflix. I think it's going to be like a huge success for them. And like I said, I want AEW on HBO Max for similar reasons, for pay-per-view wise, but just having a live show, 2 hours, no commercials once a week. I'm interested. I'm more interested in watching Raw every week now than I was before I knew it was just going to be 2 hours.
Not gonna lie, Bob, I would be too, and I'm the least
Yeah.
WWE fan on this podcast. I do catch up. I watch the pay-per-views and I watch what I can, but most of the WWE that I watch is on Twitter, is on clips, is stuff that you
Yeah.
send me, being like, "Did you see this promo from The Rock and Cody Rhodes backstage when he's whipping him with a belt?" I didn't see that live. I saw that on the
Yeah.
internet. And now that it's on Netflix, I'm much more likely to be sitting down on not even a Monday, like Tuesday morning, have my breakfast. Oh yeah, let's speed through what happened on Raw on Netflix. That wasn't
Yeah.
really a possibility with it being on cable TV, being 3 hours long with all those commercials. I'm not going to go through DVRing that thing and skipping through the
Yeah.
commercials. No, I was going to press play on my Netflix because that's where I watch everything. And I think it's a really big deal for them. And the fact that they're
Yeah.
changing the format of the show, I think it's a bigger change than people realize, because it's going to feel like a new era. Like legitimately, it's going to feel like a new era of the show, and I think that's going to be great for WWE and necessary, needed for WWE. Next topic I want to talk about, I want to stay on the WWE side because we are building towards a pay-per-view, Bad Blood, where we're going to have a Hell in a Cell match and supposedly the end of this big feud between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. It's been going on for nigh a year now. And we have a dispute about the bracelet because WWE Shop started selling the friendship bracelet with
I
AJ and
can't
Larry
believe it.
on it. And then the creator of said bracelet says, what? Excuse me, we're doing what? No one told me about this. Drew McIntyre, perfect heel roll, came out and just made fun of the bracelet lady. And then WWE took the AJ Larry bracelet down and put up a new friendship bracelet with just CM Punk across it. Bob, Hell in a Cell, friendship
Yeah.
bracelet. What do you got?
Just this whole, I mean, the storyline is starting to just get starting. It's been long in the tooth for about 6 months now with this freaking bracelet, and this was just like the cherry on top of
Yeah,
this ridiculous Sunday here. This girl just said a heads up would have been nice about the bracelet,
yeah.
and Drew McIntyre responded, "All this bitching and moaning and crying. No wonder CM Punk is your hero." And then some guy defended him, and she said, and Drew McIntyre said, "She ain't gonna shag you, brother." Like he's just killing it on the internet. But this bracelet storyline, I haven't given a shit about the bracelet since they introduced it.
Yeah.
I don't care about CM Punk's $3 bracelet, and I can't believe they tried to sell it with
Yeah.
with AJ Lee and Larry's name on it. That's like that's so creepy. I'm walking around with someone else's wife's name on my wrist. Who's doing that? That's besides Drew McIntyre, right? But yeah, like this, I'm ready for the storyline to end after Bad Blood. I'm still invested in them in the ring, but the focus on the bracelet, man, has really just taken a lot away from the storyline for me. I'm sick of it, and just the idea that they're just gonna WWE's gonna WWE. The idea that they try to monetize that bracelet, and I'm sure the new CM Punk one's selling well. I'm not buying that piece of shit. You cost 5 cents to make. They're selling it for 10 with $10 shipping. Screw you. Who's buying that besides idiots, I guess? But yeah, I would not. I'm ready for the storyline to be over. But
Bob, our subscribers are buying that. How dare you offend them? It's going to be interesting. I do not care about the Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood.
I care. That's going to be you're going to be invested in the match, I think, once it starts. But the storyline could have been better. It could have been better. They dropped the ball on the storyline. They really
I just want to see it end, Bob. I want to see these guys wrestle different people. So I'm not terribly excited about Hell in a Cell. Also, Hell in a Cell cage matches in general, not my cup of tea. But that's it for WWE talks in the mid card. Let's go quickly AEW before we get to the final Judgment Day main event here. I do want to talk about the big thing from AEW Dynamite. They're building to Grand Slam, and Bryan Danielson obviously choked out at All Out. We talked about that already. He is the champion. He needs a challenger at Grand Slam and beyond. And there's a lot of people fighting for this. We know that when Bryan loses this belt, it's supposed to be the last match of his career. He will go off into that good night. And yet, who will be the one to take it off of him? There were rumors that Darby Allin was going to be the one to do it at Grand Slam. They were going to give the belt to Darby, and that was going to be at the end of Bryan's run. It's not going to be Darby fighting him at Grand Slam. Darby's instead fighting Jon Moxley, who choked out Bryan Danielson, another potential challenger. Blackpool Combat Club gave a great promo to start off Dynamite. Could he be the one to take it off of Bryan? Could Christian Cage, holding that contract, kind of like their Money in the Bank briefcase, came out and gave a great promo about that Bree should have CTE so she forgets how bad of a wrestler you were. Unbelievable. Christian Cage, could he be the one to dethrone Bryan Danielson and take him off the mountain? Or, I can't believe it, there's so many of them. Basically, Bryan Danielson has so many challengers, and I truly don't know who it's going to be that takes Bryan Danielson down. And I am excited that all of these opportunities, all of these possibilities, because now we get Nigel McGuinness threatening him at Grand Slam. We know Nigel McGuinness is probably not going to be the one to beat him. Love that this is the match, though. Love that this guy's been making fun of Bryan Danielson for months, years on commentary, and finally we saw him debut or return at All In to great. The crowd went crazy, and we saw how good he was still. And now if we get one more match, Nigel versus... I'm eyes glued to the television at AEW Grand Slam for these two to fight. My question to you is, how excited are you? You wanted this belt run. You wanted this title run. You wanted the hardware on one of your favorite wrestlers in AEW. And now we have 4 viable challengers to him. And we don't know how long this run is going to last. We've made fun of AEW for so long about how they can't book for shit. And now we have many paths here that are that are crossing with each other and moving forward, all with Bryan at the top. To me, it is fantastic to watch. Are you entertained by this? Are you excited for this reign?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Danielson versus Nigel, Danielson versus Darby, Danielson versus Moxley. I'm looking forward to all of that. It feels like a little just all shit crammed together in like a little week here. Like it could have been spread out because Danielson's he's being spread too thin, it feels like. But everybody's going after him. It's exciting. It's going to be I hope it's a lengthy run for Danielson. I don't think he's retiring. He's retiring from full-time career, whatever that means when he loses the title. I have no idea. But I hope he holds the title for months on end. And I hope he faces Claudio too. I want him to go through the whole Blackpool Combat Club. And the whole Blackpool Conga Club, as they're affectionately known. I want him to go through that. But I want his final opponent to be Moxley or Allen, but probably Moxley makes the most sense. But go ahead.
No, I've talked before on this podcast how I was never the biggest Dean Ambrose fan. In fact, I was a Dean Ambrose hater. And Jon Moxley in AEW, I drafted him on my team in the AEW draft that we had. I love him in AEW in this new version, new twist on his character. it's the most entertained John Moxley I've ever been. And he's genuinely looks like a threat when he walks in the building. And I don't know if I love Marina Shafir or anyone else that's alongside him, but if I get Moxley versus Bryan Danielson for that belt retirement on the line, man, that'll sell some seats at an arena, let me tell you. And I think it's a fantastic way they're going with that. I don't know if Moxley should be the last competitor because I don't want there to be a last competitor, but I agree he's positioning himself that way for sure.
Yeah. I just think Moxley makes so much sense as Bryan Danielson's final opponent. And Moxley, to me, was the best AEW champion so far. So if they give him that belt back, I'd be fine with it to carry him into the future. Moxley can turn face in an instant, too. So it's all good. I'm looking forward to Grand Slam so far. Moxley and Allen, they've never competed in AEW, I don't think. This will be their first singles match against each other. That's going to be awesome. I hope.
Let me tell you, Darby should
huge expectations for that match.
I don't. I'm excited to see it, but that should be a squash match. Like, no offense to Darby, that should be an ultimate squash match. It's John Moxley's first match returning as this character. He should beat the utter piss out of Darby, and it shouldn't even be a challenge. Like, let's build Moxley up to the Darby can afford a loss. Let's build Moxley up to the rafters here and absolutely squash that man. But we'll talk about AEW Grand Slam more next week. We want to finish with the main event here, and it has to do with the Judgment Day getting. Well, I guess the Judgment Day is no longer Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. The Judgment Day was doing the beatdown to Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. Bob, what's our weekly Rhea Ripley update?
Well, first, you can't be the Judgment Day without Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. As this fan shouted, let's play that video right now.
You guys ain't the Judgment Day without Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley! You guys ain't the Judgment Day!
So, as that established, the new version of the Judgment Day, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan, fucking Carlito, and someone else, I forget. Like, who gives a shit? But
big head guy.
Yes. JD McDonough, the Irish Ace. How can I forget? They suck. But I love Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan and Finn Balor, but JD McDonough and Carlito, whatever. But the new Judgment Day beat the hell out of Rhea Ripley is doing another injury angle. I don't know if she's actually injured or what. She's with crutches because of a Liv Morgan attack. I hope she's not actually injured. That would suck because she's kind of getting injury prone here. If this isn't an angle and she's actually hurt and they're just trying to sell it as an angle, that would be devastating. But I hope not. I don't think so. She's wrestling at Bad Blood against Liv Morgan. That was announced last night. But the Judgment Day beat the hell out of the Terror Twins. Jey Uso's music hit 2.5 minutes into the attack. The latest save I've ever seen. He runs down to the ring. They're decimated. Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest just decimated in the ring. Like Liv Morgan, they would slam her leg with a crutch. Like worst new boyfriend ever, Jey Uso. Like terrible first impression. Like this is Rhea Ripley. You got to be standing by the monitor backstage. Like anytime she's in trouble, you got to get going. Just a poor job by Jey Uso here. I feel like he fumbled his chance with Ripley, but we'll see. But overall, Jey Uso also won that fatal four-way. He'll be facing Braun Breaker for the title. So there's a lot going on. But Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley at Bad Blood and Damian Priest versus Finn Balor at Bad Blood. They finally addressed that storyline a month and a half after Finn Balor betrayed him at SummerSlam. We finally got a promo tonight. Talk about we have our problems with Triple H. Holy shit. He betrayed the guy out of the World Heavyweight Championship match, and we don't get any explanation. He betrayed Damian Priest and cost him the title against Gunther at SummerSlam. We don't get any explanation until last night that Finn Balor didn't want to be a sidekick, or a few nights ago on Raw. Like we took that long to explain that storyline. That was lame. But overall, the new Judgment Day sucks. Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest are great. And that's that rambling on that topic for the Rhea Ripley of the week.
Update of the week. And that is it for the main event, for the main card. But we do have something else to talk about.
Oh, God, yeah.
Bob, this week, SmackDown debuts on USA Network. Wait, right? Yeah, USA Network. There's been so many switching of networks that I am confused at where SmackDown is going. The reason we're talking about it, though, is it's supposed to be a very big show with some very big matches on the show. First time in however long SmackDown is on USA Network. What do we got on the card? And let's see if we can get some predictions going, my guy.
Well, Andrade, WWE Speed Champion Andrade.
We have a Speed Champion competing on SmackDown? What a way to start.
Not for the speed, not for the speed championship.
Oh, not for the speed championship.
No, I was just identifying him properly.
He won't even have the belt on his shoulder because it's not allowed to be on real TV. He's just going to come out and wrestle.
They have a belt? I'm just joking. I didn't know. But yeah, Andrade will be facing Carmelo Hayes for the 5th time. The series is tied at 2-2. I'd like to see Carmelo Hayes get the win here, as he was a #1 draft pick for SmackDown, and they've done essentially nothing with him besides wrestle Andrade. So I'd like to see Carmelo Hayes get the win here, and we start making him into a star. But I'm guessing WWE Speed Champion Andrade is going to win this series. That's my pick. Andrade's winning this one. Do you care about Andrade?
A series?
Yeah, it's part 5. Series tied 2-2. I'm looking at it in the preview.
They're promoting it that way.
Yeah, it's been
right, so these guys aren't even good enough to get a best of 7. We're just going best of 5 and doing away with the feud.
Who knows? It could be part 6 in 2 weeks. They didn't say this is the conclusion of it. I hope to God
you're not selling me already on SmackDown. Keep going.
Kevin Owens versus a mystery partner versus the great team of A-Town Down Under. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory have been demanding for them to be separated and broken up for months. The mystery partner is obviously just going to be Randy Orton to me because he lost. He went to Raw to face Gunther at Bash in Berlin, lost. Now he's going to go back to SmackDown. That's really just lame to me, but it's Randy Orton. If you're excited about Randy Orton again, are you?
What's Sami doing?
Who?
Sami Zayn.
Oh, he's facing Gunther. He was with the Bret Hart promo. It was with Gunther versus Sami on probably at Bad Blood. It hasn't been announced.
At Bad Blood. So this could be Sami Zayn. Let's get KO and Sami Zayn back together just for a little one-off, a little pop the crowd one-off. Either way, you're still not selling me on SmackDown and USA Network. What's next?
Okay, the final advertised match. There'll be obviously more matches on the card, but the big main event is undisputed WWE Championship steel cage match. Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa again. I don't know if that grabs you, that 7-month feud that's still going on. I don't know if that gets your attention. It doesn't for me. I don't give a shit about this match, if I'm being honest. But I do give a shit about what I think is going to happen at the end of this match, which is Roman Reigns' return. I think that's their USA Network is just releasing poster after poster on their social media with Roman Reigns front and center. They're doing that on purpose. He's coming back again. He has not been seen since August 16th. Bloodline sent him through the table. So he's coming. He's returning during this match and costing Solo Sikoa again. And I think Jacob Fatu, last week on SmackDown, Cody Rhodes suggested that he defend the title over Jacob Fatu over Solo Sikoa because he's more impressive, basically, is what he said. And I think they're building towards that. I think Solo Sikoa this is his 10 minutes or 15 minutes in the spotlight are up. Goodbye, Solo. You're about to be replaced as the leader of the Bloodline by Jacob Fatu in a few months. It was nice seeing you, but let's move on. And I think Roman Reigns is returning here. And obviously, Cody Rhodes is retaining.
Well, again, you haven't sold me on watching this fully, but I will catch the end of it for Roman's return. Also, I have a new guest before we move off of SmackDown's debut on USA Network. Kevin Owens' tag team partner. Da, 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 da.
Oh, wow.
That would be a hell of a pop.
Oh, man. We're going to come back to this next week. You might be right. That might be a great call.
That would be a hell of a pop. Yeah. That would be a hell of a pop.
Opening match too, if they open it up with seeing his entrance in a couple minutes. Oh, yeah, I think that would be a great call, but I'm guessing it's Orton.
Let's move on to the gimmicks of the week.
All right.
This is when we talk about subjects that didn't necessarily make it big enough to make our main card of the week. And the first one we have to talk about, our boy R-Truth, social superstar of the week. If you have not heard, there's a man on ESPN called Shannon Sharp. He's a talking head. If you don't know who he is, feel free to look it up. He accidentally went on Instagram Live while he was having fun with a lady friend of his, and nothing was shown, but a lot was heard. And he was on Instagram Live for a little bit, and R-Truth, our boy, R-Truth, was in the Instagram Live and was commenting along like, Unc, what's going on over there?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound good. We'll put some of the comments up as we're talking here, but hey, R-Truth, man, I love unhinged R-Truth. There's probably not...
He giving her that hawk tour. Are they funkin'? Yo, Unc, that's not PG. Hold up, hang up the phone, big Unc. Oh, shit, she said, please. Oh, damn, this is going to go viral. They both out of breath now. Fucking R-Truth's a gem. Just what an awesome dude.
It's just...
That video. that audio, I didn't want to listen to it. I had to because you morbid curiosity, just awful, just terrible. Just see Shannon Sharp, just oh my god. But yeah, R-Truth
wins the week, man. He wins the week. I think he's one of the funniest people walking the planet Earth. He wins.
Yeah, he's
the week.
Because you don't half the time I don't even know if he knows he's being funny. That's the brilliance of that's the brilliance of it. Is he just crazy or is he's the best? He's one of the best. Never ages. The man's in his 50s. He looks like he's 30.
Let's go with someone who lost the week. It was Jobber of the week. Giovanni Vinci. It doesn't matter what his name is because WWE clearly doesn't care about him. This was apparently a planned spot to have this man come back. He returned. He's back. And then he loses before he gets his jacket off. Bob?
Yeah, Giovanni Vinci was in Imperium with Ludwig Kaiser and Gunther. He was in a tag team with Kaiser and NXT. They're like multiple-time NXT tag team champions. They betrayed him. In April, he disappeared for 5 months. They did vignettes. He comes back, male model gimmick, and he loses to Apollo Crews in 3 seconds. It was he posed and got rolled up. He was looking the wrong way, and Apollo Crews just rolled him up from behind. That was his return. The rare return of the week, jobber of the week, whatever we're going to call this, a combo award. Just pathetic. Just, what a waste of a talent. Right? They clearly just don't believe in this guy, but don't do these stupid vignettes. This reminded me of like that Veer Mahan is coming thing that they did for ages and ages. Like they keep pumping up this guy. They don't give a shit about this guy. He's going to be released. He's going to join Odyssey Jones. Obviously not as much as an asshole as Odyssey Jones, but he's going to be just disappear from WWE television within the next month. Mark my words.
All the names you could have brought up. Why'd you bring up Odyssey Jones? Let's move on to the return of the week. And I thought this was pretty special. Bret Hart in WWE.
Yeah.
Again, he didn't seem enthused to be there, but he was there, Bob.
I don't know if Bret Hart's enthused to do anything anymore besides just trash people. But yeah, this was cool to see. Bret Hart got a big pop in Calgary. Sami Zayn came out in a Johnny Gaudreau Calgary Flames jersey. That was a nice moment. That's really sad about the Gaudreau brothers there. But
sad.
Great to see Bret Hardy. Just the same surly bastard that a lovable bastard that he's always going to be. But yeah, he looked just miserable to be there. But Gunther's line. This just popped in my head. Gunther's line about Goldberg being his favorite wrestler to Bret Hart. Goldberg ended Bret Hart's career by booting him in the head and giving him a concussion. That was a great line. Gunther continues to be excelling as world heavyweight champion.
And that is it for the gimmicks of the week. But before we finish this show, we have the headline of the week. Bob, your headline. What are we going to be talking about at this point next week in the world of wrestling? You do WWE. What is the headline for the old WWE?
Just be prepared for the Bloodline storyline to be front and center, the sole focus of WWE television moving forward once again. I don't know if you're ready for it, but with Roman Reigns coming back this Friday, I think Paul Heyman's coming back soon. That's just going to be the focal point of everything once again. And then we get The Rock. Just be prepared. Get ready for the Bloodline to be in your face again.
My headline for AEW is the turn we've been waiting for. Big Bill turns on Chris Jericho, the Jericho Appreciation Society Learning Tree faction of the week, because they did one of the worst spots I've seen on Dynamite where they dumped $7,000 of change onto a Bentley, which idea-wise was cool. Looked like there was barely any change. It was like the change that's in my couch cushions right now. That's how much change. It didn't look impactful at all. It looked like it barely made a ding on the Bentley. And then in the promo, Chris Jericho said something about how his friends, he uses them or whatever. And Big Bill gave him a look. And it was a great camera angle to show that look. We're getting the Big Bill turn, folks, and you better be ready for it. But that is it for the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show this week. But before we check out, Bob, we have to check in with This Week in Ryback.